Hello, welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor presenting information that will shift your thinking on how you can own a home, invest in one, and keep one. Today's show, we will be speaking about felonies, misdemeanors, and the new Fair Housing Act. I want to preface this to say that I am not a lawyer. I am only presenting information that I ran across because of the position that I'm in. Before we begin, I want to also give you a little heads up of why there has been this change. The United States is the third largest country in the world when it comes to general population. However, it has the largest population of prisoners in the entire world. This is due to a lot of different factors. Many of you are already aware that there are a lot of people who have served 15, 20, 30 years in jail only to find out that they were actually innocent the whole time. Right now, particularly in the state of New York, sometimes after a person has been arrested, it can actually take 2 years before they're actually given a trial date to determine whether or not they're innocent or guilty. Once they get that date is not normally automatically immediately. That date is sometimes also in the future, 2 or 3 years down the road. So what happens? A lot of times people will go and take a plea, even though they know they're innocent, just so that they can get out of jail early. Unfortunately, a disproportionate number of these people who do this are poor or minorities. Hence, that's why these new guidelines have come up. You can find them on http://www.hud.gov/sites/documents. And from there, you can do a search for felonies, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Well, here's what this new guideline under the Fair Housing Act says. It says that landlords can't just deny felons or misdemeanors without delving a little bit further. See, a lot of times when people do a background check, it'll say crime, felony, crime, misdemeanor, and it might say, give you a general name of whatever that crime or misdemeanor was. But in order to find out more, you have to actually expand on that line to see specifically what went on. And a lot of landlords have not been doing that. A lot of times they just see criminal and they throw away the whole entire file and say application denied. As you already know, it's already hard for someone who has a pass to get a job. Well, it can be even harder for them to find a place to live. By the way, these rules do not apply to those landlords who live in 1 to 4 family homes or real estate investors who own 3 multifamily homes. This is primarily for landlords who own apartment buildings and property management companies. Here's what they must do once they find out that person has a crime, misdemeanor, crime, felony on that report. They have to expand that button. They need to find out what was the crime. Was the person actually convicted of that crime? How long ago was that crime committed? Did the person who was convicted, how long ago did they actually serve time for this particular crime? Has this person committed any other crimes after that? And has the person been rehabilitated? Here's what a landlord can't do and may be subject to discrimination. You can't deny somebody who was a former drug user, who had a moving violation, who wasn't convicted of the crime that they were accused of. And for some crimes, if it was committed 7 years or more ago, it depends on the state, you are not allowed to deny them their application or deny them an apartment. However, if the crime violates the health and safety of other tenants in the building, then yes, you will not, I repeat, you will not be considered discriminatory against that particular person. And those crimes are arson, vandalism, theft, murder, rape, or drug dealer. You can deny those people, and you will not be accused of discriminatory practices if you turn those people down, because as a landlord and property manager, you are responsible for the health and safety of all of your tenants in the building. Now, I want to just give you an example, because some felonies and some misdemeanors really should be deleted or concealed. And I don't know if many of you realize that even though a law has changed, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's wiped off of your record. I recently, well, not recently, a couple years back, someone had applied to live in one of the homes that I own. That person, on their background report, it said that they had a criminal past. When I expanded it, I found out that what it was is they possessed marijuana and they were using it. The state that they were convicted and served jail time for now has decided that marijuana is legal both medically and recreationally. And I was thinking, wow, that happened a while ago. It's now legal. Why is this still showing up on the background report? Well, I know that background companies, a lot of them, they don't update automatically. They update maybe like every year or every 3 years. But even still, they're normally pulling that information from government databases. Therefore, I feel that if you are someone who was convicted of this sort of felony in the past, you should actually ask to have those records concealed or deleted. It makes no sense for you to keep having that on, because again, people who live in 1 to 4 family apartment buildings or multifamily houses is what a 1 to 4 family is called. They're going to look at that. They might not click on the plus or the little arrow to the side to see exactly what you were convicted of or arrested for. And they may say, okay, I don't want to deal with that person at all, and throw your whole record, your application and everything in the garbage. So for that reason, I think that you should look into having something like that removed and corrected. That's all I'm saying. The other thing to be wary of, and this is both for those who were convicted, not convicted, who were never arrested or convicted of anything, when you're filling out the application, put in your middle initial, because there are times when background reports do give erroneous information. Some of you have common names. Your first name and your last name is very similar to, let's say, 20 or 25 other people. Your middle initial, your middle name normally distinguishes you between the 25. So when the background check is run, it's run correctly, and the person who's running it, either the landlord or the property manager, has the correct information and doesn't get a red flag in their head when they see this. So this is something that I strongly suggest that everybody do. And yes, you can actually ask to see what is on your background report after it has been run. Normally people will tell you that they're going to run it, and you normally have to sign for it to say that you are going to have a background report run on you. Now, let's talk about public housing for a second. It used to be that if you had a criminal record, you were banned from living in public housing for 2 to 6 years. However, of course, if you committed the crime on the property, they banned you for life. If they find that you moved back in after you committed the crime and you lived with your family, your whole family would be at risk of being evicted from public housing. So nowadays, there is something called a re-entry program for people who are felons, who have felonies and misdemeanors. You should definitely sign up for this to protect yourself and to protect your family from eviction. Basically, it requires, after you sign up, which is free, but for 2 years, you have to stay out of crime. You have to attend any job training that they send you to, but normally they'll try to send you to something that is compatible with your skills or your interests. And you also have to work with a case manager. After that is complete, then your name is added to the lease. You can live in the property before your name is added, but you have to sign up for the re-entry program. Now, let's say you need financial assistance and you want to sign up for Section 8. Well, if you are a felon, you have to wait 5 to 10 years after the felony has been committed and taken care of. Then you can apply for Section 8. However, if you are a sex offender, a drug dealer, was caught in fraud, you fell behind in rent, you have been accused of bullying, murder, then you will not get Section 8 ever again. So forget about even trying to apply. If you move in with a person who is on public assistance and that person does not tell the authorities that they have moved you in, both of you can lose the apartment and that person can be kicked off of that public assistance. So it might be best for you to be truthful up front and not hide in the background thinking that everything is going to be okay. I mean, some people do it, but it's best and safer to report everything. Truth be told, though, I've overheard a lot of criminals throughout the years, and they say going back to their old neighborhood, being back around their old friends, actually doesn't keep them out of crime. They end up falling back into crime. It may be best, wherever it is, the prison is that you went to, some of those areas, such as Syracuse, they have special programs. And not only that, the housing up there is a whole lot cheaper than the housing here in New York City, for example. Many people have been able to stay out of jail, stay away from doing crime, and live a better, honest life up there, as opposed to moving back down to where they're more familiar with. So to a certain extent, that's definitely something that you may want to think about. Now, to those of you who want to buy a home and you have a felony or misdemeanor on your record, when it comes to loans, your best bet is going to be to go to a credit union. In order to qualify for the loans, they are going to require that you have good credit, not below average. And they're also looking to see whether or not you've committed crime in the last 10 years. If you've committed crime in the last 10 years, your options of trying to get a loan is going to be extremely difficult. Now, if you're looking for any additional assistance, even though you've met those 2 requirements above, you want to check out your local church. Catholic Charities of America do offer housing assistance grants to felons, from my understanding. I think the housing grants that they have are really available to a multitude of people, but as a felon, you would not be denied if you applied for those grants. And HUD can also assist you as far as where you can go to get grants, and also how what is the home buying process is for the particular state or city that you're interested in. Otherwise, I would say it's best to go to your local newspaper and look to see who's doing a lease option, who's doing a lease purchase. You can also visit some realtors and let them know that you're looking for a home in which the owner of the home is willing to do that. When you do that, know this, that the owners of the home may also run a background check on you. And if they see a criminal past, they might be hesitant too. So you might have to put a larger down payment than what they require for you to put down, which is normally a little bit more than other people. So if they require regular people to put down $10,000, I hate to say regular people like that, but if they say $10,000 is the minimum, and you know that you have a felony or misdemeanor in your background, you may want to put, an extra $5,000 down, just to show that they can trust you a little bit more. You may also want to get a recommendation from your job, from your boss, or if you're in the church, if your pastor can give you a recommendation, or anybody in the church who has title or a specific office who knows you, then that would be good for you as far as securing the home that you want and the start of a new life. Well, folks, that's all I have for you tonight. Hopefully the information will inspire you to reboot your mind, reset your focus, and make smart financial moves. Feel free to pass it along. Remember, each one reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time.